Hello, my name's Giuseppe.
And my name's Vince.
And welcome to the Back of the Booth. Hello, and welcome to Back of the Booth, the talk show where we talk to musicians from Ida B. Wells High School. Today we have with us Gabe Stromberg, the mind behind the project Westpine. Gabe, just real quick to get us started, do you want to describe your music and maybe talk about some musicians that have influenced your sound?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. Yeah. So I've released 2 EPs at this point in time, one being in May 2024, and then the last one this last August in 2025. My music is so far, I will say, a little bit all over the place, but it is inspired by a lot of like indie rock, some shoegaze elements in some of the songs you'll hear for sure. When it comes to the like guitar and sounds itself, I was definitely influenced by Andrew Prallo, who did some soundtrack work for things such as Outer Wilds, the game, and then other artists like from all kinds of genres. So I took inspiration from all kinds of artists I'd listened to. I tried to incorporate like unique styles of production in my songs, especially in my most recent EP being Paradoxical. It features in one song there's a lot of like chopped up piano featured, and another one I have a guitar that was it's a classical guitar being played, and then like a sample of one of my friends messing around on it that I again like chopped up the sample to rearrange into like a more coherent track. And then I work with a couple of my friends who do vocals to sing on the songs. Most songs that have vocals on them, you'll hear my friend Violet Lempert on it. She's an amazing singer. She's worked on both of my projects, and she's done great on that. She's written lyrics and sung, and then I've also got one of my other friends who I'm in a band with, Evie Strandberg, and she did vocals on one of my songs, being A Real Stranger, which released in this last EP, and she's also done really great as well, but she's only been featured on one.
Okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, I listened to your discography and I was very impressed. It's like, it doesn't sound like what you'd expect high school music, quote unquote, sound. It sounds very professionally recorded. The guitar tones, I'm a bit of a guitarist myself, and I was very impressed. There's like a hollowness to some of them that's really cool. So walk me through, what's your process of songwriting? Do you start with like a riff, or you start with like, I want to write a song about this specific topic? Where do you start, and then how do you get a song from there?
Great question. I start all kinds of different places depending on my song, and those songs starts off the same way for me. Most of the time I will put down a couple chords first, like usually with guitar or piano, whatever I'm using for that day. I'll put down chords first, then add drums onto that, do a melody over it, and then that's kind of my process. Add anything else that I'm wanting to add. Other times I'll either in my head think of a melody, or like be messing around on guitar, be messing around on a synth, and come up with a cool melody, and then go from there with that as my starting point. Other times it's the drums first. So it definitely varies, and it just kind of depends on, I guess, how the song comes into my mind. And I find it the hardest to come up with a good song and to start off when I'm trying to. It's usually easier when I'm just kind of messing around, or if I'm just doing literally anything else and something comes to mind.
Cool, that's very interesting to know. One thing I noticed when listening to your newest record, the song 93 really stood out because the lyrics are just, they're very like raw and vulnerable, but also very relatable, I feel like. That's something I notice a lot when people in high school release music. I'm usually very impressed by like how deep they're able to go with the lyrics. But what's it like to release a song that's got very personal lyrics? Do you worry about it, or is it just easy and makes sense?
Totally. I with that song, I'd wanted to put my voice on this project. I'd wanted to be able to, I'm not a great singer. I say this, I have a line in the song that describes this too. And I'm not too great at singing. I'm going to try to moving forward. Like, hopefully in the future on some of my projects I can get some vocals on there. Yeah, but I'd want to get my
thing to do, so.
Definitely. I'd wanted to get my vocals on there, and I'd definitely taken a lot of inspiration on this project for this song specifically from a lot of Midwestern emo tracks. Mm-hmm. And those songs there are a lot of spoken word songs in that genre that are very similar, and I kind of wanted to express myself through that, be able to kind of say some things that were on my mind at the time. Everything I said in that song was definitely true. It maybe a little exaggerated for the sake of like the track, and it doesn't describe how I feel all the time. I'd say I'm a pretty positive person, but I was definitely having those thoughts at the time and wanted to be able to express them. It was definitely scary, but it's kind of comforting at the same time to be able to have a way to get those thoughts out there, to be able to, I guess, release not just the music, but also like what's going on in my head. And that was definitely something that kind of made it better and easier. It with the cost of having to have the conversations with my family when they told me, asked me about the song. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny. They were worried about you or what?
I mean, it varied. Like, I mean, definitely a little bit of worry, just also kind of wondering like what was up with it in general.
That makes sense.
I mean, yeah, when my grandma said she would listen to my music, I was a little worried about that one. I didn't know how she would feel, especially with the swearing involved.
Yeah. I really love that song, though, so worth it, in my opinion.
Thank you.
Moving forward in the future, do you have, is there stuff you're working on right now? Do you have plans with other projects? Like you said, you're in another band also. And are you going to, do you think, make more music that's similar to what you're making now? Are you going to branch out? Like, what are your plans for the future in general?
I have a lot of big plans for the future and a lot that I'm a little worried if it's going to happen or not. So to kind of go step by step, I am in a band. It's called Dreams of Spring. We have yet to release anything, but we are working on a project at the moment. That band is going to be more influenced by genres like nu metal and shoegaze, so it's going to be a little more heavy, going to be a little more guitar focused. My friend who is featured on Real Stranger, who did the vocals there, Evie Stromberg, she goes here too. She's going to be featured on, she's our singer for that band, so she'll be featured on those tracks. I think that if you want to know what that band's going to end up sounding like, Real Stranger is a good song to listen to. Then outside of that, I'm working with Violet on another project, not for Westpine, but for her own personal music that she's working on right now. She's written a couple songs, and I'm going to be doing some of the production and coming up with the composition for the instruments on that one. And still kind of yet to hear much about it, but that is something that will be happening, that I'll be featured on. I'm working on a soundtrack right now for a documentary. I can't give much out about that. That's a actual official thing, not like a student project. I was hired by a movie producer for that, so I'm really excited to do
yeah,
I'm really excited to do the soundtrack for that. And then I do have more personal stuff coming out, mainly under Westpine. Have an album I'm working on at the moment that will hopefully feature at least 12 songs. For that too, when it comes to the style of music that you asked, I think I'm not necessarily going to be branching out and doing something totally doesn't sound like what I've released, but I am finding more of my style. I'm kind of going into a specific genre on this one and leaning more into the Midwest emo that I had expressed earlier in songs like 93. So I have some songs I'm working on right now that have a variety of different kind of sounds, but overall kind of fit together, which I think is something I've struggled to do with my last couple releases, have the songs kind of flow, I guess. But yeah, that's most of what I'm working on at the moment. I do a lot of other stuff in my free time when it comes to music, so I might start releasing some other stuff in other genres that I've been working on as well, but yeah.
Cool, good to know. You mentioned briefly struggles. What would you say for you is a hard part or an obstacle about songwriting, and how have you been able to overcome it?
I think for the most part, it's the time that it takes. It is a long process of being able to come up with ideas for songs and, write the instruments and melodies and chords, all that stuff, getting that stuff sounding good. Then, if there's lyrics on the song, writing the lyrics and recording them, especially when it comes to working with other people. I'm able to produce music much faster when I'm working on my own, which has been a struggle when it comes to the music I've been releasing, because I'm usually working with people on that, and that leads to, a bunch of timing issues when it comes to making our schedules fit together, being able to find time to actually work with another person. But yeah, so for the most part, it's the time and just being able to then, after all that stuff, mix it and release it with all the other things I'm trying to do. It becomes a little difficult. But I definitely plan to work harder on it and get some stuff released hopefully pretty soon.
Cool. This is a very specific one, but
Okay.
I thought the like sound quality on your albums is really good. Is that just where do you record that? Is it just in your room, or do you rent out an actual studio, or is it somewhere in between, or what?
I am honored that you think I rent out a studio. I do it in my room. I have a home studio set up at my mom's house. I'm mainly like all my music is done through my laptop, my MacBook. I definitely have stuff that helps me out there. I got a couple synthesizers. I have like some MIDI keyboards that are attached to it. I've got some nice headphones that I wear. But overall, it's like nothing that you can't just do with a MacBook. I produce all my stuff through Ableton Live, which is the digital audio workstation that I do everything through. Most people that I've met in high school that also make music do FL, which is a great piece of software, and you can do a lot of cool stuff with there. A lot of professional musicians use FL as well as Ableton. It's just a little less on the professional scale, I would say, and just like when it comes to the amount you're able to do, it's great for like beats and like quickly producing. But Ableton has definitely been working for me really well when it comes to getting stuff that has good quality. I feel like my first release, Rockaway, had a little bit worse quality after release, like especially listening back now than I would like. If I could go back and change some things, I definitely probably would. But overall, I work hard to just kind of, I use a lot of different like headphones and listening equipment to make sure something sounds good from like all different mediums. Like I don't just kind of have the studio grade headphones in, because then people who have like are listening through AirPods aren't going to hear that the same way. So I try to listen to it a couple different times, make sure and like tweak little details to make sure stuff sounds good, and I'm glad it does.
Do you do the car test where you play it in the car? Is there anything more you want to say to our very, very many viewers, like about your music or music in general or anything else?
Yeah, for sure. I'm thankful that I'm able to be here and like talk to somebody about this, and I'm glad that people are listening to my music. My numbers are not high, and that's not a big deal to me. I'm glad that people are able to listen to the music and enjoy it. That's kind of my goal. And I love working with people. I love like hearing other people's music that are around my age and everything. And to anybody who is young, again, like my music that I make, if you're impressed by it and everything, you can do that. Like it, again, 99% of it is like I just need my laptop, and then the rest is just kind of like extra. Like it definitely helps and like makes it more streamlined and turns out a little better, but it is not needed. I made most of, again, going back to my song Real Stranger, most of that song, like the original like instrumental for it, I think like 80% of that song was made during class. Like I was in a math class and I was just working on that with my AirPods in. So like I just go for it if you like have any kind of like inspiration or any kind of what's the word I'm looking for? I guess just like if you want to do music, then you can do that. So
just do it.
Literally.
All right. Well, thank you so much. This has been great responses. Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again to Gabe Stromberg. Great interview. Everybody go listen to his new EP, Paradoxical, right when you get done watching this.
And tune in next week, so I'll be interviewing Sabina Claire and her new single, Cinematic.